Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the It's Pizza Time podcast. I'm your host, iNDiGO. Today, I am brought to you. Wait, no, that was wrong. Today, I'm sitting here with my co-host, Victor,
Hello.
and our very special guest, Wales.
Hello.
I already scuffed up the intro, but hey, you know what? That's what we do here.
All good.
So for everybody out there who doesn't know, like who or what Wales is, would you like to explain? Like, would you like to give like a summary to what you do?
So I'm Wales. I used to go with Sex Wells in the past. I've been making music for like 12 years, and I've started Sex Wells like when I was 13. And yeah, I've been really trying to push it for like 2 years, and then in 2015, stuff started to kind of catch up, and I started to play my first shows internationally, and like the first million views, streams on SoundCloud, all this kind of stuff. I've been doing that pretty well for one few years. I toured Canada, Europe, China with Sex Wells, and then when I turned 18, I was kind of like, it everything is alright, but everyone kind of sees me as this kid, and I'm not. Like I'm 18 right now. In my country, 18 is being an adult. So I've decided to just make a change. So I kind of get a second chance because I've got pretty successful when I was 16 years old, and like it was everything. But I never had management and a team, so I never like used the full potential I had. And when I reached 18, I was able to finally signed with a management company, with an agency, make my US visa, take it all like to the next level, start the business properly, and that's what I did. But we didn't want to leave all the mess from sex. Well, it's not like a mess. There was nothing wrong with that, but we kind of wanted to start from scratch and give me myself a second chance to prove people that I can make better music and have a better theme for myself and concepts and be more creative and more unique, because I used to be kind of generic and people like that, but as an artist I always wanted to do more and be better and develop.
Yeah,
And when everyone is like, yeah, Sex Wolves is this young kid, and I'm like 18 touring, I'm not a young kid anymore, right? So that's where Sex Wolves began. And it started to kind of, Wales was very independent. Like no money was invested in Sex Wolves. I mean, like Sex Wolves was very independent. No money was ever invested in Sex Wolves. Like I did everything by myself. I only signed with like two record labels, and I released like 200 songs, and a lot of my self releases gained like millions and tens of millions of streams. Like my biggest songs, streaming wise, are released when I was like 15, 16 years old as Sex Wolves. So I succeeded a lot by myself, independently. And Wales was this thing when like I joined a new management, I joined an agency, I started to sign with more labels because I had the connection, right? Like when you don't have a team, it's pretty hard to get to labels. Even if you're a big name, it's kind of like, how do I even reach out to them? Like emails, it's not as professional as your manager hitting them up. So Wales started to have a lot of like, first UKF upload, and then like all the press. Then we made my US visa, and record labels, Bygor, and then Monster Cat, and then Circus, then Disciple, Never Say Die, all these kind of DMAC, all the goodies, and like it was in a very kind of short time. Sex Wales started like 2 years ago. We did the switch. I think like almost exactly like 2 years ago. I feel that it was like very, very close to like the end of August. But yeah, I did that thing, did the switch. Stuff went like, it was difficult at first because I changed my name, but the fans really like the fact that I try to do more and be better and like make better music and improve myself and develop my sound and stuff. So most of them took around, stick around. I don't know, like they just
yeah.
stayed with me. And yeah, recently it's been just going well. It's been going well for me. Like, if you ask me, what I describe as going well is when I'm happy and I'm making the music I want to make, and I'm fortunate enough to have a fan base that's been supporting me for so many years. And if it's touring, if it's like online fan base, I value everyone the same way. And the crazy part is that, you know, I used to work so hard since I was like very young on music to put myself out there. And then like now I'm 20 years old and I meet people that's been following me since I was like 14 years old in real life. They come to my shows. And it's a crazy crossover of like, oh my god, you've messaged me when I was like 14 and now I'm like in a different place with a US visa playing in your city and we got to meet, so that's like very special to me. And yeah, basically I've been just making music, all kinds of music, and focused on EDM, but I also sing, I write lyrics, I compose stuff for movies and games, I ghost produce, I do like all kinds of stuff with music. Music's been my main thing for since I can remember myself.
Oh, I mean, I'd assume so, or otherwise, I don't think you'd really be on the show if music wasn't, the
I mean,
main thing.
nah, I'm like I like to strip sometimes, just go to the bar. No, I'm kidding. It's just me.
uh, um,
But I
oh
think I
yeah,
would kill it as a stripper. If I was a stripper, I would kill it. Like
dude.
I take everything I do very seriously. So
I
You have
mean,
to.
I
Always.
mean, like quarantine's like a good time to start, you know,
Get some new
developing new
skills.
passion.
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right. Well, I guess we'll go right into the first question, um, which is something that you said that
Oh
the
yeah,
precursor question, the one that
yeah.
you said that you would have a lot to talk about. But what is your favorite kind of pizza?
I like pizza. I like all kinds of pizzas. So like I will tell you like a conspiracy theory I have with myself. I struggled a lot with weight in my life. And when I was young, I always used to be fat, like super fat. I mean, in my country, it's super fat. In America, it's like normal, right? But I used to wait around, let me tell you that, 2 pounds, right? You do pounds in America?
Yep.
Yeah.
I used to weigh like 375 pounds.
Oh, dang.
And I lost around 150 pounds, even more, like a little more, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely used to be a very big guy. And a lot of it came because of emotional eating. I found eating food as something that really helped me to deal with anxiety and depression, whatever.
Yeah, it's a coke.
And I guess I always had to limit myself to food. And when I was younger, I remember like the only thing I never like got to eat because like I love my family so much, but they did, and they smartly did. Like I'm glad they did. Always try to stop me from eating, not like at least the bad food, like junk food, like pizza.
Oh yeah.
And I also remember like me wanting to eat pizza, but never being able to eat much of it. So now I'm like, it's not that I'm obsessed. I only eat pizza once in a while because it is not healthy, and I lost the weight. I'm really like I'm on a diet. Like always, I always have to watch out. I mean, I when I lived in the US, I gained a good amount of weight, but I'm almost back to my normal form, which is healthy and good. But my favorite topping on pizza will be pepperoni, especially because like in my country, Israel is a kosher country. So you cannot get pepperoni like anywhere. There's only one pizzeria that's like Domino's, and they're the only ones that have pepperoni. And I don't do the whole religious kosher stuff. So for me, it's like pepperoni is like the thing that I never got to eat on a pizza too much, I guess.
Hmm.
So I will always love pepperoni. But the problem is that I don't like the pepperoni you have over the US. I only like the pepperoni in the US and in Europe and Israel. Like I do not like the American and Canadian pepperoni for
I
some
mean,
reason.
you're closer to the country that like pepperoni originates from, so it's probably like better than it is here.
Oh,
Here pepperonis, it's not very. It's a very Americanized
Like
version.
what meat pepperoni is made of?
I don't
I
know.
think it's ham. I'm not entirely sure,
It's
but I
ham,
think it
right?
is.
So
Yeah.
that's why, because like with me, I eat like pig and all that stuff. I don't know like how you call it. Yeah, I eat
Pork.
like
Yeah.
pig. Oh, pork. Yeah, exactly. So I eat pork, but because I don't eat it, like I rarely eat it, like once in 6 months, like 7 months. In my country, it's not like okay to eat it. Again, I just live my life, right? But I do think that like my body reacts very badly to pork, and that's why I avoid it, and it never makes me feel good. That's why I don't like the American pepperoni, because here pepperoni is made of beef. I think it's just like a very nice. It really reminds me of the how you call it, the smoked beef, like jerky, the
Roast
beef
beef.
jerky.
Okay, okay.
No, the jerky. Yeah, it really reminds me of a jerky by the taste, but it's like not dry. It's cool. But recently, not like recently, like a year ago, me and my girlfriend found a new passion. Like I've been making pizza, not like the best way, but I've been making pizza for like 2 years and a half, because my way of losing weight is that I started to make my own food. I never eat outside. Like I only make my own food, and I only like cook. Like the only people that I can eat food that's like made for me, it's myself, my girlfriend, and my dad. And like I meet my dad like once a month, 2 months. So but there's only like two people maybe that I can eat cooked that they've cooked for me besides myself. But I usually just I cook for myself every day. And I loved pizza, but I didn't like the fact that pizza in Israel is like $40 minimum. Like you cannot get like Israel's like fucked up expensive, right? So I just started to see how I can make my own pizzas besides my cooking skills. And yeah, with the years I started to really get on that. And like you can see that there's like homemade sauce and like homemade cheese and stuff. And I started to make some very nice homemade pizzas. This is
Damn.
before cooking, this is after cooking. And I definitely started to like really get into making my own pizza. And since then, pizza's been even better for me. Here's some dough you can see that I made. Um, I'll keep showing some pizza so you guys can be jealous of me.
Already am.
I'm very
Yeah,
proud. I usually don't share this stuff on social media, but I'm very proud of my pizza and cooking skills. Look at
I
that
can see
small.
why.
This is small and like pretty, and it's all.
I'm
By the way, it's very healthy. It's like good flours and good cheeses. Like always low fat, and like it's real tomatoes. It's never like garbage. That's why I'm so in love with that, because you eat that and you don't feel bad. There is no MSG. There is no. You know exactly what you put in.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I will break it. I just wanted to give it. I never talk about my love on pizza online, and you told me that I need to talk about myself as a person. So yeah,
Yeah.
like I have an obsession. I guess I don't eat that much pizza. Like really, like once a month, even. Like really, I don't do that often because it's a, really not healthy. Even if it's like once in a while, I still stick to my diet, especially now because I try to lose weight. But I have a very special place to pizza in my heart. And my two favorite topics would be, so pepperoni, but like kind of. But the one thing I will eat every time with a pizza is like olives. I know olives is not like big in the US, but in Europe and Israel, it's like the most popular. Like you cannot get a pizza without olives, black olives, green olives. Like it's like
Black
standard.
olives, yeah, black olives are pretty common here. Like there's a lot of people that will get them with black olives, but I've never seen green olives.
Right.
Oh, green olives is like it's bomb on pizza. Like honestly, it's so good. Like it's
Yeah,
just different cultures, right? But I feel like the pizzas in the US are so fat, like
oh
Most
yeah,
things are for sure.
so soaked in oil that you cannot even put olives in there because
yeah,
olives release their oil. So that's why you might not have as much olives as we do, because my country is like very vegetables is good and bad fat people are bad. Like even me right now, I'm not like fat. I'm in okay weight. I'm even losing weight. I'm healthy. But some people might consider me fat and not healthy, and that's fucked because I'm in a good BMI. Everything is good, but fat shaming is it's a pretty big deal in my country. But yeah, it will be pepperoni and olives, but like on the low key, like honestly, I would eat every pizza. 7-Eleven, bring it. Fucking I don't give a shit. Like gas station pizzas will make me die. Let's go. Little Caesars, like anything on like any topics. Like I like spicy shit. I like all vegetables, all kinds of meat, all kinds of cheese and that. The only thing I do not like is like tuna fish. I can't. I don't eat fish. So fish
Me
is like the
neither.
only thing I won't eat on
Yeah,
pizza. And in my country, like tuna fish on pizza is like the second most popular topping.
Really?
So
really.
yeah, I know it sounds bad, but it's just that's the way it is here
Yeah,
because they cannot do beef on pizza. They only can
Right.
do fish. So they found this alternative, which fucking I never tried it, but I will throw up. But I would eat any kind of pizza. Like I would rather good ones, right? I
as
ate
long as
pizza.
it doesn't have fish on it, you'll eat it.
Yeah, like I don't care if it's gonna poison me. I've ate pizza in like I think the craziest pizza I ate was in China, and I'll tell you why. Because they do not eat cheese. So to find a pizza, you need to try hard. And even that, they have most of their pizzas without cheese. It's something weird. Like I cannot describe it. The weirdest taste I ever had for a pizza was in China because they don't really know how to make it, and it was good because I like again I will eat any kind. It's the pizza podcast. I know that I'm talking too much about that, but give
Dude,
me
it's
like
fine.
five, give
Like,
me my 5 minutes of finally getting this secret out there because I wish I would had pizza like right now, like every time, all the time. But I sadly can only eat it like once in a month,
yeah.
I guess.
Like as much as pizza is like pretty much everything that circulates about my life at this point, I can't have it every day. If I could, I would, but I
No,
can't.
I
So,
will like so. Let me explain. The only reason I'm not eating pizza every day is because I want to like I'm keeping my weight. Okay, I'm on a diet. If it was up, if I will not have the genetics of getting fat and shit, I would eat it every day. Lunch,
exactly.
like every meal. Like no, you tell me exactly. Both of you are skinny. My genetics are not like
I
that. I can get very fat. I mentioned I was like 375 pounds. That's when I don't put any limits. So now I have limits. Now that's why I'm on a normal weight.
yeah,
But definitely like if it wasn't about like, if I had like a month to live and I do not need to care about anything and what's anyone thinking about me and stuff. And I also like usually I have to stay in a good shape because I tour and the flights and the shows and sleep is like I work a lot. So I have to sleep well at night. And when you're very fat, it's not that easy to sleep. So I have to keep it. But if it was up to me and I will die in like a month from now, I'm gonna like spend any penny I have to buy flour and make like shit ton of like dough and just eat it like every day. Like I would eat it until I cannot and then keep eating. Like I have a weird thing with that. Like I love pizza more than anyone else I've ever met. And I do not do anything with that obsession besides just like thinking about it all day. But I only ate it like once in a fuck ton time. And now I can't because I'm on a diet. So
all right. That's fair. But
yeah.
when if you ever when the whole pandemic thing's over and you ever come out to Los Angeles again, or if
Oh,
you,
I
if
I
you
lived,
ever have,
I lived there for like a year,
oh,
more than
if you ever come back, I know
I
the best
will.
spots.
I
Trust me.
will. Yeah, we should link up when it's back because
That
like with LA, the thing with me is that I told you I never really eat out. So even when I was living in LA, I would usually make my own. The only time I do not make food is when I'm on the road, when I'm like like traveling.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
but I think like every state I've been in, which is like probably like 15 states, no, not 15, like 15 cities, but like every city I've been in the US, I've tried pizza. I think every country I've been in, I tried pizza. just because I'm like there is so many different kinds of pizzas in the US, like New York style, Chicago style, so many things. And for me, it's I've used to only know that there is like one style. So when I came to the US, it's kind of like, oh, and like I hate to say it. I know that like most people will find it disgusting, but I do like deep dish pizza, like Chicago pizza.
Oh yeah,
I
there's
I,
nothing wrong with it, but
I love that shit. But I only ate it like once, but I loved it so much. Like I seriously,
yeah, I
it was
mean,
fun.
It's so good.
there's nothing bad about deep dish pizza.
The
Like,
thing is, I feel
really,
like people are just kind of elitist about
People
it.
always say
yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot of people believe it's like, it's like, why is it a pizza? It's more like a, like a cake at that
no, but
point.
everyone says like New York, like I'm not American, even though I live there and I'm familiar with America. What I understood from you guys and your culture and your country, New York pizza is the best because it's New York, and it's the closest to Italy, and like the Italian people came to New York and built that, and like it's everything. So the New York pizza is the best, and Chicago pizza is like it's for the noobs, if you don't understand much about pizza. And I understand a lot about pizza. I know most of I don't know everything about pizza, right?
You know
I
the
had a track.
entire history of pizza, you know.
When I was 15 years old, I've made a track about pizza. That was like 5 years ago, before any of you even listened to EDM, I guess. So like, I'm kidding, right?
Oh,
I
man.
did make a song though. I did make a song about pizza.
yeah. The history of pizza is when Little Caesar made it the first time.
Dude,
I'm just kidding.
I'm not like so. I just gave an example, right? I would rather to not eat Little Caesars. I would rather to not eat 7-Eleven pizza. But if there is no choice, and like if I have to eat outside, and I can eat whatever I want, I will take pizza over. I mean, it depends. If I'm on a date with my girl, I will eat a steak, right?
Of course.
Yeah,
But if
you
I'm
know.
hungry right now, let's get a pizza, boy. Even though I love meat a lot, I just love food. I'm such a fat ass, like mentally, like I can't
Dude,
believe. I can't believe we're making an interview and I'm talking about food. There is so much stuff I want to talk about.
dude, don't worry about it, man. I feel the same way when it comes to food. Like, believe it or not, I may look skinny and whatever, but no, I'm a foodie and I eat a lot.
You're small, like
Dude, I eat a very large amount, like an unhealthy amount that, like,
I do. I
people
do
are
it.
surprised.
I eat I eat like I never eat the amount I need to eat. I always eat like sometimes less than half of the amount I need to eat for my body because I constantly like that's the genetic part. I constantly need to work on my weight and keep it balanced because if I go too crazy, I can just go up and I
Yeah.
cannot. It's fucked up to live like that, especially when I love food. But with me, it's like if I will not take care of my food habits, I can just get huge, like fucking bomba size, like this size, you know. So yeah, I'm keeping it healthy,
Yeah. Well, that's
which is
definitely like, a good mindset. And I'm glad to hear that you're taking the initiative and like, like, it's not healthy for me. I should, keep it restricted. A lot of people,
yeah.
they don't have that self-control, so it's good that you do.
Oh boy, I mean like it is self control, but I just realized that I don't like any habits that are not like something I can control. Like it's let's move on to something else because we've been talking about pizza, but let's move on from pizza. Healthy habits, right?
Yeah.
It's all about like that's the thing I speak a lot about when it comes to addiction. I've never took a drug. I never had alcohol. Like I'm the purest person. Like seriously, I never smoked a cigarette. I'm like I'm Maria the fucking virgin. I mean I'm not a virgin. It doesn't fucking matter, right? But I'm kind of a pure when it comes to addictions. But the one addiction I did had was food. And what really helped me to kill it, like you cannot like get out of an addiction. You always think about that, but put it on the side
Yeah.
and
You're like,
find better habits.
Right.
yeah.
And I noticed like cigarettes is harder, and drugs are harder, and alcohol is harder. But for me, food was harder. Like, I was almost 400 pounds. For me, that was a habit as hard as anyone else that's been smoking or like drinking, you know, because I had to really like find the powers to stop something that was the only thing on my mind back then. And I definitely think that, as soon as music started to go very well, and I started to tour a lot and do all this stuff a lot, I just got distracted from my old habit, which was food, into this new thing, which is like constantly working on music, constantly trying to grow my stuff, grow my brand, satisfy the fans, have a connection with the fans. Like, just I switched the old with the new mindset,
Yeah.
and that got me out of so much trouble that I could get. Like, I was in a very unhealthy place. Like, my hands are full of this marks. Like, my body is. I was not in a good place, and mentally I was in a terrible, 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 terrible place. Anxiety, depression. I also have Tourette's syndrome. My tics were crazy. OCD. I have a bunch of kinds of trauma and anxiety. I mean, I do not really believe in that stuff. Like, I mean, it's true, but I don't believe in names. I think that it's just me. It's who I am, and I will never let anyone to tell me you're that and that and that. When I was younger, it will affect me, but I realized that as soon as I will stop treating myself like I have problems or have like I'm sick, as soon as, and I'm like 100% disabled, right? Because I used to be very bad. So as soon as I will stop treating myself like I'm a problem and I have problems, I will be normal. And it's a very weird mindset to say to someone like me. It's like, I had a lot of trouble communicating. I had a lot of trouble just being normal, doing this switch in my head of like, I'm myself and I don't care about the titles. It helped. And definitely the switch I did, like, music helped me, like, this habit of making music and focusing only on that pushed all the. I never had bad habits, but I did have unhealthy habits. And if it's, eating too much, and like way too much, if it's relying on other people, always like, I always like was scared to be alone, and I was a lonely person. I never had too many friends. Even now, like, I'm good with everyone and I love my friends and stuff, but my circle, the people I interact with, I only talk with my girlfriend, which lives with me, my mom, and like my best friend. Like, that's like, and that's it. And my manager and all the work stuff. But I talk about life wise. I always needed to kind of I needed people to accept me. I always needed exception. And I guess attention, kind of, I needed attention when I was younger because I never got it. I was very bullied hardly. I never had friends when I was younger. So I had habits of like impressing people, overselling myself, and just not being myself. Really trying to satisfy other people, if it's my fan base, if it's my friends, if it's my family, just doing everything for everyone else but not myself. And when the
Mm.
music came, I stopped caring about all of that and I just became kind of myself, because a lot of the emotion I had in myself I could get out in music. And obviously, like, when people like you, and I know that it's weird to say like, oh, there's a lot of people that like me. Most of them do not know shit about me. Most of them are not even following me, but they listen to my music. I speak through my music. They like me in a way, right? I know it's weird to say,
Yeah.
but that helped me to understand it. Like, maybe I had a very hard past life and people never accepted me, but there's millions, like tens of hundreds of millions of people that are enjoying my music. And that way, like, I don't need them to love me. Like, as soon as I'm doing something good for them, I'm good. Like, my purpose is done. Like, I am making people feel good. That's me. That through music, that's my thing. That's why I wake up. And as soon as I switch the habit to that, instead of trying to, like, be under social pressure and all that stuff and really not being myself, my life got better. Like, better is not even a word,
Yeah.
right? Like, I got from 0 to 100. I was bad. I was hospitalized. I was in a very, very bad place. Like,
Yeah.
physically, my
You just
Tourette
took.
was so, my Tourette was so bad. I would always be like that and twitching. So it was a big switch, I guess.
Yeah. So you just basically took you know, all the bad shit and channeled it into something else to turn it into like, you know, good shit.
Yeah, just myself, and that's the thing with musicians and the music for me and art in general. I think that more artists need to stop caring about social media as much as they care about creating stuff.
Definitely.
Because, like, man, my social media is great. I've been doing social media since I was like 8 years old. Like, before even I had a YouTube channel when I was 8. In 2000, no, when I was 6. In 2006, like, I got proofs the channel is up. I will just upload other people's music. Like, it was weird, but I know about social media, and I know what's good about it and what's terrible about it. And when I make music, I do not need to think about social media. I only need to
Oh yeah.
think about I only need to think about I have this idea and I want to make it sound. I want to give it wings. I want to get it out. And a lot of people stuck in this hole of like, I make music to play shows, like other people, right? I make music to play shows. I make music so people will listen to it and like it. I make music to impress other producers and make music for labels so they like it. And I was in that phase when I was younger, and that was the phase that got me crashed down because I stopped doing whatever I wanted, started to do whatever anyone else wanted. All the labels, although my team always been great and my old manager Josh was amazing, I've always got this freedom, but I wanted to, get into labels and change my sound and be more pop and, in the bass scene, just play the game, right? And even though playing the game is important, I won't go there and make like house
Yeah.
track or something terribly different. But I kind of lost the way to express myself. I only cared about like, oh, I can't wait to play these shows. I can't wait to have this tour. I can't wait to have this EP. And that was the moment I struggled the most because from my experience, like on God, okay, anytime I had something succeeding and I try to do the same thing, or anytime I try to get inspired and do something for a purpose that's not just having fun and making music, I failed. And every time, and sometimes I keep failing like that because I try to do something so much that
Yeah.
forget I forget to have fun out of that, right?
Yeah.
And right now, like at this stage of my life, after coronavirus, after me playing a lot of shows this year before the virus, everything that's happening, I realized that from now on, I only live to have fun. I do not need to be a millionaire. I do not need to have all the followers on Instagram to follow me. I'm fortunate enough to have enough people to support me to live my life and be able to afford it. And that's it. Like like eventually, I'm always growing bigger, and I know that if I will go with my truth and what I really like making and what I really like doing, these people will feel it. Like I know when something is real, and people feel it the same way. Like I don't think that like there is something in my fan base. I'm just giving my personal point of view, right? They know me, and even those who doesn't really know my history and stuff, they still know me. And it's not because I'm going out there and fucking talking all day on social media. I'm not quiet, but I'm not the very you won't see me just doing
Yeah.
stories. No way. But they know me. They feel what I'm about. Like people that doesn't even know me tell me, dude, I kind of get what you're trying to do. Like keep doing that. It's gonna be worth it. And for me, it's kind of like they're understanding. Like I have a big passion for music. I make lots of music. That's all I do. That's been my life. I got nothing. I mean, I got my lovely family, lovely girlfriend. I got more stuff going on, but music has always been this thing.
Yeah.
And as long as I'm doing that and I'm enjoying myself, that's all I want. I do not need everyone's love. I just need,
Exactly.
yeah, I would love to break it and get as big as I can as an artist, like fucking marshmallow size, only because I would want more people to enjoy my music.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I want people that enjoy music to enjoy my music, not to be a product, not to be a marketing result of like, someone invest in me, a label, and I blow up and stuff. I do not want to be that guy. I
Yeah.
want to just enjoy my shit. And even if it's gonna be a million and not a billion people that's gonna enjoy my shit, that's great. Like I would rather to make whoever it can reach and make happy naturally without trying to push it because music these days it's a lot of most of it like 99% of it it's marketing, you know.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Industry plans and all this kind of stuff, this is like it's obvious that like most people that are pop right now are pop because someone invested to make them that big. And now there is, there is luck and there is blow ups and TikTok song and this thing and Lil Nas X and Juice World and all this stuff that blows up. But in the EDM scene, at least to reach a very high level of when people recognize you as an artist, you always need some kind of like big support and you need to
Mm.
be pushed. And
Absolutely.
to me, it's kind of like I do not want to be a result of that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have a big agency. My manager is fucking pretty big name. Everything is cool. I'm a big name and I signed with big labels. You know, I won't be like, oh, I'm small and everyone fuck everyone. But at the same time, I never like nobody never shoved me into people's throats. Like I'm just released with them. You've never seen me doing exclusive stuff with them or selling something. Like I barely have merch. I have like
Yeah.
pins and I have like sample pack that's been helping artists. So with me, it's like I want it all to be natural, and I'm luckily succeeding. And like, oh god, like there is a lot of great stuff that's coming soon. But like really, really, like it's biggest shit kind of type, right? But it's
Yeah.
all happened because like it happened naturally, like I never tried to do something for I've never tried to make an EP for the sake of doing a tour, you know.
Oh.
I just made an EP because I always make music. Like I have
Yeah. You
more
made an
than
EP just because like you wanted just to make well, you wanted to make something and
I
it's like
really
you just
like
did.
this year I released for like how many like 40 tracks. Like I released like in last year I released like 60 or 70 tracks. I released a lot of shit, but I make like guarantee you I have right now more than 400 tracks that are like good and are gonna come out. So I don't need to sit there and make music. I really don't. I don't need to sit and make music. I have enough. I have more than enough. Like my team is tired of me sending them shit every day. You know, that's how much music I make. But I still make it because
Yeah,
you
you
know,
enjoy it. Like, it wouldn't you wouldn't
yeah.
do it if you didn't enjoy it.
And if it was to get a label or like get a tour or something, or just get people to like me or impress other producers, I would not enjoy it. I would not make as much. So I guess that's my mindset of like I do want to make it big, but at the same time, like if you ask me, I already made it big. Like I make enough to live off, and like for me, it's I'm a very simple guy. I rarely buy anything. My money is me and supporting my family, and that's it. Like I'm, like my living, my family's, and that's it. Like I never buy anything. Like I'm not the guy that needs stuff, materialistic stuff. If I wake up and I'm having a nice chat with my girlfriend, that's a good day, and I will enjoy it more than like buying new shoes. I wear the same
Yeah.
shoes. I had the same shoes for like a year. Oh, I had the same shoes for like 2 years, and then they got destroyed in a festival, and I had to buy new ones only because they got destroyed. So I buy new ones, and this pair got destroyed in another festival, so I had to buy new ones, and that's it. Like this is the only reason I got like shoes. Like this is
Yeah.
the only reason I buy stuff when I really need it, and that's
Yeah, I
my
feel that.
I never feel like, oh, I want to be the biggest artist and make play all these shows and make all this money, because what will I do with it? Like I do want to I want to buy an apartment, a house, like have a property, and like hopefully I will be there soon, and like I will save enough, and it's gonna happen like in the next you know soon, I guess. But by the way, like Israel is not like the US. It's like a minimum of an apartment here is like you down payment. You have to have like 100 grand, like minimum. You
Yeah.
cannot do anything if you don't have at least like minimum of like 100K. So
That's a
yeah,
lot.
The real estate is fucked. But I do have a goal of like owning a property and like eventually like later starting my life, having kids and stuff. But I don't need to be a millionaire for that. I believe I
Yeah.
make and I will keep making and I will make more money. So I'm not concerned about that. But again, that's it leads to the point of like I don't like talking about money like that. But I'm only mentioning it because like my goal is not to make more money, and you'll be surprised. Like a lot of people start this because they really think there is a good financial potential, and a lot of the managers are all about business, and a lot of the labels are all about money. Like good parts of this industry, like 80% of it, even more even, are people that are passionate about money, not about music. And it's okay because anything in this life is not as it should be, right? Like photography is all about money, videography is all about money, everything is about money right now. So I accept it. But with me, it's like I enjoy music and I enjoy making it, I enjoy doing that. A lot of the artists are just looking to make more tracks, to make more money, to sign with more labels, to play more shows and make more money, and then tour and make more money. And it's
Yeah.
really money. It's a money game,
Yeah.
And like when I started music, I never thought I will make money out of that. Like I my parents are divorced, and though my dad is doing great financially, my mom never did great financially, and she raised me and my sister. And even though my dad helped a lot, still as soon as we grown up and got older, she started to struggle, and I never had like everything I wanted. I had to work hard to get what I wanted. Like even my first computer, like my like I made one of my songs Dead to Me that got like overall more than like 700 million streams on the internet. I made that on like a 1 GB RAM computer. Yeah.
Damn.
And like my dad could give me a computer because he owned a store, but I never wanted to go and be like, Dad, can you just give me a better computer? I made music in this shitty computer, struggled, and as soon as I made enough, I buy a computer. When I was like 15. That's life for me. So I value money a lot. Like, don't I'm not saying that like people only want to make more money because I don't value money, and I do need it. I do work all day because of that, I guess, like as well.
Mm.
But at the same time, it's not that like if you will tell me that I'm not gonna make any more money from music, I will get a fucking other job, but I will still keep making it any chance I can because that's what I care about. And
Yeah. Yeah.
sadly, people like a lot of artists do not care about that. A lot of artists do not even make their own music. They're just puppets that play shows and other people make their music for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I respect it because making a good brand it's important, right? Like Wells, I believe it's a great brand, but you can definitely see that like I'm not like, I'm not a brand. I don't have like a mask. I don't have a catchy name or like you don't see me like tattooed with whales on me. It's not the brand. It's the music. The music speaks for my career. And some people have their brands and their PR speaks for them. And I
Yeah.
respect that because it's just that, in my eyes, making and grinding on a good brand is sometimes as important as working hard for music. But I'm just saying, like, not that I'm better than anyone else or them, the people that worry more about the brand, because they obviously it's easier to grow up with a brand. But I do really care about music. I guess that's my point. Maybe I got lost and talked about so much unnecessary shit, but
No,
I
man.
really,
It's
I
fine.
really, I really care about the music, though.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
mean, on that, like, I mean, on the whole music note, yeah, no, I completely understand what you mean by like you just it doesn't really matter like where you end up or where you're like headed, but just as you just want to make music because you just like making music. It doesn't necessarily, have to be like I feel like even if it wasn't monetized, you would still do it.
yeah.
Um just because you enjoy it. But on that note, let's ask a little bit about like your actual music because that's like we've been sitting here for a while and we haven't actually touched any on any of that. So let's, you know,
Apologize. I mean, we
I
can make
don't
it
know,
long
dude.
if
Don't
you
worry.
want.
This show runs on tangents, so like honestly, you're just helping us out.
Yeah, and it's good to see that you're content with life and everything's going good.
Yeah, if you're passionate about what you're talking about, that's what people want to see. So,
Honestly, like the reason
um,
I'm talking so much about it is only because I mentioned this like good habits stuff, and I just want people to see how much like I could
yeah,
abuse this. I could abuse bad habits, you know. And the only reason I'm so passionate about music is because like I rather to replace my eating, like my past bad eating and past like attention seeking habits or depression or anything like that. I would
yeah,
rather to change it in my mind to music, and that way I can worry less about stuff that doesn't matter. And if I do worry about something, it probably has to do with something I care about. Like if I worry about music, it's okay because I care and I want to make stuff better and bigger and more,
yeah,
you know. So it's the good kind of worrying. It's the good kind of caring. I think that worrying about like, oh, I have to stop smoking because I spent too much money on cigarettes and my health is going to shit. I think it's worse. So I'm just like, mentioning that music really helped me to get out of like I never had again bad habits, but I did stick to the music habits, so I never got a chance to start smoking, drinking, doing drugs, things
yeah.
like that.
So like, just a good habit replaced the ability to actually develop a bad habit. Yeah, I get what you're saying. All right. Well, on the topic of like, yeah, the actual Wales project. I mean, I do want to ask, like, what do you think? You've been doing a lot of things, a lot of self-releasing before, working with bigger labels. Is there any like particular like what is the project or like the track or EP or whatever that you think you are the most proud of, like the one that you put in the most effort into and got like the most effort out of it or
So
the most
honestly,
out of it?
I think that there was like uh, there's like two of them, and I will go talk about it because that's the place for that. The most important one was, I guess, like so in life there is ups and downs, and like we all have it, you know, mentally and career wise and everything else. But I do think that over the last like 10 decade, I guess I had like three big moments that really like meant a lot to me. But when I had the first one, I wasn't capable of making projects like that. But the first one will have to go to the Night Fighters EP I had. That was a transition I had with myself, and I will explain. I used to be a different person. I used to really, like I said, not care about myself, just satisfy people and eat too much and do all this shit that like I was not happy with myself and I didn't like myself and I didn't want to leave. I wanted to. I was very very suicidal and I was bad. I was physically and mentally and everything was bad. And then I did it like I started music started to catch on in 2015. In 2016, I had a very nice year. Like That To Me came out, Weird came out, shows, tours. I Everything is like wow. I left school. Bunch of great stuff happened. And at the end of the year, I did a tour. Right, like I played a bunch of shows, and it was amazing. Like seriously, it was Europe and Canada, and like oh my god, whoa. For me, it was incredible. And when I came home back, I started to feel bad because I realized that I just didn't know who I was. I was so trying to like make people proud of me. I was trying to impress people so much that like I felt like all of that was for nothing because everything I cared about is like, oh, I'm playing a show. I need a photographer. I need everyone to see that. I'm doing that. I need everyone to see that. And I just got into a very dark place because when you tour like that, people take your baggage and stuff, carry your jacket, and everyone is nice to you, and you're the king and everything like that. Bullshit, right? Like I'm just a human being, but people
Yeah.
treat you in a way. And when I came back home, that was like my first major time not being home for like 2 months, being by myself, all that stuff in different countries. And when I came home, it was kind of a slap of like I didn't have a team by then. It was just me. I had this slap of like, okay, I also haven't released music for like 2 months, and my stats are going down. And because I was touring so much and just like visiting Canada and doing this stuff, my hype just went down because I didn't work as hard to keep it. I was sure it's okay. I did my tour. I'm good. I'm gonna be big now, and I tried to like find management, which I didn't because I was in a bad mental state, and I tried to sign with label. I didn't because I didn't work as hard to get my music better and be more unique. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm done. I guess I'm like a failure. This phase is done for me. Not like I'm not done with music, but I guess sexuals is just. I guess my career is gonna get really kind of deep down. And in 2017, like the beginning, like I remember, like the end of 16, I came home. In 2017, the beginning of the year, I got into a very. It's the first time I'm talking about it like anywhere like that. I got into a very bad depression and an anxiety phase, and that's when I started to lose weight because I will not like for the first time I will not eat, you know, when I'm not feeling well. I will just sit at home for I was at home for like months, like 8 months. Seriously, I didn't go out. Maybe like here and there, like this show, this thing, but I was really just staying at home and not even like like I was making music, but not as much. I was very unmotivated, and that was my point of just thinking. I will sit in bed and think and think and think and think, just like when what's going on, what do I have in my hands, like this career thing, what's sexuals, what does people need from me, like what's going on. Like I got very weird about myself because I didn't know who I was, and after a bunch of months of like really kind of trying to understand what I care about and what matters to me in life,
Mm.
I started to wear this EP which called the Night Fighters because I had very bad time sleeping. I would always have this fuzz in my head and anxiety, and I would not sleep much. I would stay awake for 4 days, then have to go to the ER, and they would like give me pills and check my heart rate, and that was weird. But I was in such an uncalm and stressful place about life and myself that you know I just could not sleep much. And it was the Night Fighters because you know the EP talked like all of the EP. There is the Night Fighters song which is with Messinian. We made the lyrics together about my story, my Tourette's, like my thoughts, the fact that like I was willing to get out of this and win, and I was fighting for that. I was fighting for myself. And then I had a song I Ain't That Sick, which talked again exactly about that. And then the program, which the program talked more about life, how everything runs out. Maybe the production is not the best in this EP, but it's like one of the. I've never put so much time in anything in my entire life, and I've made a bunch of projects, but I would wake up and spend like every penny I had on vocalists, graphics, make videos like leisurely. I will tease that shit for months. Like I've never I think I've never done anything more serious than that. And I was alone. No labels, no managers, no nothing. I would go to blogs and like, news sites and everything and send it myself and YouTube channels and send it myself. And it didn't do that successfully. I mean there's like probably in general for the free tracks after 3 years there's like a million plays. But maybe it's not my most successful project, but I can feel different vibes when I hear this because this
Yeah.
was like as soon as I released Night Fighters, my life changed. I
It was your
started to date.
turning point.
Yeah, because like I started to date my ex, and I started to go more outside, and I started to slowly make more music. And because this project, I did put a lot of effort and a lot of like the money I had on promoting that and advertising and shit. I started to get a bit more of a name slowly. Then 2018 started again. because of Night Fighters, I managed to play a few shows in the end of 2017 after not playing a show the whole year outside my country. And then in 2018, I started to kind of get much better. And I will make more music, release more music. I set a lot to improve my production skills, and more than that, like just improve. Like I always was capable of doing more than I was actually doing, and I wanted to see like how can I make better stuff because I knew I could make better stuff. So I took time to work on that and make myself more unique and stick out, all that kind of stuff. Then in 2018, I met my manager, my old manager Josh, and we changed to Wales. And with the help of a manager and an agent, we got my US visa, labels, premieres. Then at 2019 came, big year for me. First US shows, did great. Big tracks, label releases. The end of the year, led to my tour this year. And since then, like I played like a bunch of shows the beginning of this year, but then Corona hit, so I'm back in Israel. I also like moved to the US, came here, all that stuff. But now it's all good. But that was definitely like a point of like since then everything started to go up until last year in 2019. Even though the career went good, I had a very personal breakdown because my dog died, and he was my emotional dog. I got him when I was 12, and it was the really first time like I ever felt like kind of love. Like, there is family love, but your family is like forced to love you, right? Because they're your family.
Yeah.
But my dog, like I got the first it's weird to say that, but acceptance, you know? And he was the one that like really got me out there to feel better about myself slowly. And he would always be the one thing I would escape for, like always. He was the most positive thing I had. He gave me a lot of powers. It's weird to say that about on a dog, right? But he was my best friend. And when he died, he just suddenly one day, like it was actually like a year ago and like a few days ago, right? He suddenly didn't feel good, and we took him to the hospital, and in the middle there he died. Like he was pretty young, 7 years old, like almost eight, but you know, and that was like that started the whole like e- series of bad events because he died. The week later, I got death, like 80% death, and one day, like he died, and like was shit. Then a week after, my girl stayed here and she didn't go for work just to be with me. And one day before I go to sleep, I'm like, hey, I have this thing in my ear. Can you like put a flash so I think I have like something stuck in there? And she says there is nothing. And the day after, he went to the doctor and he checked and he's like, oh, there is nothing, but go check your ears. Go do like a hearing test. And I go and I'm like 80% deaf. So basically, he sent me to like he gave me steroids, and then he sent me to like an MRI and stuff because blah blah blah. I did get my hearing back because it was a nerve damage, but basically it was like two options. One of them was me having brain tumor, and the second was like having a trauma because of my dog. So it was the trauma. The
Luckily.
trauma leads to this nerve loose hearing damage I had, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
But it got fixed. But then I straight like 5 days after I got my results that I don't have a brain tumor and I got my hearing back and everything. And I went through hell with like these steroids are like not the good type of steroids. It's like shit stuff that makes you like a monster. It's bad, mentally monster. But 5 days later, I had to like fly to the US, and I flew to the US. Ended up moving to the US without like I just had like one baggage and ended up moving there for the tour and everything. And this why I'm talking about this is because my EP that came this year in February, Destroyer, is all about that. And I've spoke loudly on that, like the promotion, like everything was about that. Like you can see that there is in each track on SoundCloud and YouTube a story, and Destroyer is what I made the day after my dog died. I realized I need to like do something, and like I need to take my stuff like more serious than ever. I need to get an EP. I need to tour right now. I need to do all this stuff. I need to like do. I need to get myself distracted. So I started the Destroyer EP, and each track talks about something else. Like there's Destroyer that talks about my dog, then Steroids that talks about the ear damage I had, then there is Brain Damage that talks about the fear I had for an MRI. And then there is like I think tryhards and like each track talks about something else. And that was a project that I just really like that was basically like the time lapse of that breakdown I had and the way up from that breakdown in one EP. And I spoke about that pretty loudly, like never like that, but people knew what's going on. They knew like each track had its own image, like icon. One
Yeah.
of them had a dog, one of them had that and that. So that project meant a lot to me mentally. And yeah, it did great. And I mean, there every track I made, everything I had has a story, right? Like this thing about the breakup, this thing about that. Like there's so many things I've done. Like C'est la vie, the song I released when I was like 14 years old, talks about me leaving school. There's so many things and like and points that like if I would one day be able to go and tell all the stories because I remember all of them behind all the tracks, I would have a story for each track. I usually don't just go there and sometimes I have fun, but I express my life and my fears and my stress in music. And even though there is, big collabs I did and stuff like that and successful tracks, the projects that mean the most to me are Night Fighters and the Destroyer EP. Because, like I said, I told you the stories of both EPs and the fact I could lay on them and like I only woke up and went do something because of these projects. If it wasn't for them, I would just not get out of bed. But I took this energy and I made something good out of it, something that people enjoyed. That's for me like nothing is better than that. So I guess that these two are like my favorite pieces of time I spent or whatever it is.
Yeah, your favorite projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely really inspiring. I mean, I remember when the Destroyer EP came out, I listened to that through, and it's like it's now nice like to actually hear the context behind it.
Right. There's
Um, you
stories
know,
and things actually behind it.
yeah, because I mean, there's not I don't think a lot of people would like dig into to that and like they're like, oh, why is this called this? They're just like, oh,
I mean,
yo,
some
dubstep,
people did
brr.
because like we did like in the Disciple YouTube and SoundCloud, we put all the stories on each track. And on YouTube, people would wait, like they would upload and I would go and comment. People would wait every day to my comment. So like, they can know the story behind the track. Like the people waited to hear the story and how it ended. And it for me it was kind of like, oh my god, there's this crazy idea of me telling my story in text, not just with sound. And people told me like that's fucked up, people with actual brain cancer are gonna get. And I'm kind of like, oh my god, why would anyone get mad? Because I was fearing and I had a chance of having something like, I never did anything to hurt anyone, or I never tried to tell people, oh, my problems are bigger than yours. I just had a platform to get my emotion out there, you know so after
Yeah,
having all these people not believing in my idea, gladly 12 Planet and Vishal and Rosie and the Roundtable and the Disciple guys believed in me enough, and my manager Josh, my old manager Josh, believed in me enough to let me do that. And to see that people like that, like Night Fighters, I had a lot of meetings, but nobody knew about that besides the lyrics. And not that many people cared because I wasn't that known. But with Destroyer, that was a very big satisfaction. Like I felt great because people did care. I know that like you might didn't know about that, but it was kind of public, and I'm glad it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm probably just like one of a bunch of people that just didn't know it, but like
Of
it's a
course.
good thing that it's a good thing that that it was you know, the ability to like to know about like to know the context was out there, and like you know uh, the people that wanted to actually learn about it could find why why these tracks were like named the way they were, or how they were written, or what they're about. So like that's super cool. Because it's like, it's always nice to know that like a track actually has a story behind it, rather than just haha, dubstep go burr, like make a
Exactly.
cool sound. Yeah, so
Because there's a lot of people
yeah,
that just make music and then have nothing really behind it. It's just them making music, but it's really cool for you to put your emotions and actual stories into it. And of course, we talked about this on our last episode, but it's really cool to see how people will take albums and songs and then attribute their emotions to it. So say that maybe 10 years down the line, right? Every time you look at an album or song, you can attribute it to the time that you were living in that period.
yeah,
I agree. Like, I love music. I listen to that all the time, and with me, it's like when I listen to music that I used to listen 5 years ago, I would immediately go there, like mentally, right? If I would hear a song that I used to play a lot at a show, or like, I always change what I like and my taste always changes. But if I listen to a song that I listened to all day when I was flying to my first show, I would immediately get back there and imagine like everything just the way it was and like get into that feeling. Music is something different, man. Like I cannot like, and I learned and I was teaching a lot of music psychology and music history and therapy with music, but nothing is ever like, there is so much to it, and there is
yeah,
so much we don't know, and there is it variety with people like every single time, and it's beautiful for me. Like I'm like, you're definitely right. It's the beauty of music. One of the beautiful things about art, I guess. It just
yeah.
can bring you to very nice places. Maybe some songs can bring you some bad memories, but hey, it's okay because not everything in life is
Oh, yeah, at
great.
least it's a memory.
Yeah, it's
Like
like a
at least
timepiece.
Well, on that note, I think we are reaching around the end of our episode time. So, uh, I guess, Wales, is there anything that you want to say to anybody like listening? Any last words you want to give?
Yeah. Honestly, like, if you actually listen to the whole thing, thank you for a nice chat because I mean, I do believe that when you have a conversation, like usually I love hearing more from people and having a conversation. And here it was more of me talking because I'm the guest in the podcast or whatever. But I do think I hope that it answered some questions to some people, or maybe it inspired some people, and just if you got a small peek of like what's in my mind and what I'm all about. So that's I'm glad. And yeah, like shout out your team and the pizza podcast. I appreciate the I think like 2 years or like maybe a year of you commenting on my stuff. That's pretty cool. Um
Uh, like way too, like basically, let's just say it's way too long. Like way more than it should have been.
keep it up, like never stop. The day you're not gonna comment on my stuff, I know I'm not relevant enough.
Dude, don't worry. I'm gonna keep going for as long as I can. So, yeah.
Yeah, besides that, like yeah, like I think we had a nice chat. I'm glad we didn't get too much involved with like whales and dubstep and stuff because music is great, but like you said before we started the interview, this is more for the people to hear from me personally and about what I love and believe in. And it's good. I know my mindset is different because I'm pretty different and I'm from Israel, and the culture here is different, and I was raised differently than most people in America. That's like probably most people that are listening right now. So in my opinion, like maybe I open some people's heads and eyes to something else. And if anyone can benefit like any good from this, I told you before we started, like if anyone will have a nice change or like a motivation after we're done and it's like up there even if it's gonna take like a year, you know, if someone's gonna take anything like positive and good out of that, I'm glad. Like I value my time, but at the same time, I value the time of the people that's been watching this podcast and your time and Victor's time. Like I'm just
Yeah,
glad I'm able to do something good.
definitely.
Yeah, I'm like personally, I'm definitely inspired. So
Fuck yeah.
there's your
I
one
mean, already
person.
like I did mine. If I inspired someone, I told you I did mine. I just like
Yeah, there's your one person quota.
All right. Well then, I guess, yeah, like you said, if anybody has listened this far, thanks.
Drop a
Leave a
comment.
comment. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, drop
thank you.
drop a comment. Let us know that. Let us know.
Subscribe to the pizza podcast and
Yeah,
eat pizza.
subscribe and do whatever.
Eat like a bunch of pizzas, but only like once in a while, so you don't get fat and
Yeah,
unhealthy. But
yeah,
definitely eat some pizzas.
definitely, definitely. Would you like to go ahead then and plug all your stuff?
Um, you can follow me on like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything Wales FM, and let me like I have a list of like an interview I did in the past. I just want to shout out some very small artists because like I feel that even if like anyone will go and like do I have like a bunch of artists that you should go and check that are like very small and underground. And I would love to just shout out them because they deserve it. And I know that all of them are working hard. So there is Seed from Cuba, SEED, Teco from Israel, Papa Khan from Indonesia, Cosmos from the US, Jewel from Iran, Butte Noise from Cuba, Voltra, Zeta, Basic, Nemesis, Asakura, More Kismet. Like, go listen and support these people. I mean, like, More Kismet is not small, and Asakura is like raising up, but I always try to like mention some people because I mean, my music it's obvious that like people might go and check me out, but these people work very hard and they deserve a shout out.
All right, definitely. Yeah, if
Yeah.
anybody who's heard that, go check out Wales. Go check out all those artists that he mentioned. I recognize a couple of those names, so definitely like I could assure you those are definitely some good names to check out. Um, and yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
So
you for
yeah, definitely. For anybody listening out there, like I said, check out Wales. You can check out us, the rest of the podcast episodes. Um, yeah, you could. Our socials will be in the description. Me and Victor's personal socials will also be there. Um, I don't know. Join the Discord if you want to, chat with us or whatever. We have a Patreon. The only thing on there is if we reach $100 a month, I will eat a raw onion during whatever the next recording is. So like if you want to watch me suffer, please pay me. uh yeah, it's like it would definitely help out and benefit us. We would get an actual production value. So
go go support them. They're awesome.
thank you, Wales. I appreciate it.